Hello, hello, and welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be joining from. I see all sorts of folks in the chat today from all over the place. Thanks for joining. I'm Aaron. Welcome to this live stream. I'm back in Portland, back home from ResolveCon. That was a lot of fun. Hopefully some of you got to tune in to the recap show I did with PhotoJoseph on Wednesday this week. Not my normal streaming time, but it was a good chance to catch up. I was actually in his studio, so came to you live from his studio. It was a lot of fun. But we've got, things to talk about today. So that was a lot of fun. I'm happy to keep answering questions about the event, how it went, because there was a lot. And we streamed for, I think it was almost 2 hours on Wednesday to try to recap how things went and describe what was going on. And we had notes, we had an outline and everything, and the still took 2 hours. So there was a lot more that we could talk about. The Stop and Think says, watch you and PhotoJoseph at ResolveCon. I had two screens side by side, one of you two and the other at the main event. Well, so much of what they demonstrated was way over my head. Well, frankly, me too. And also, I didn't get to pay attention to too much of it because I was busy focusing on the stream, which it turns out is hard to focus on the content at the same time. Hope you aren't running a large download at the same time as today's show. Who knows? My bandwidth here seems to deal with concurrent stuff just fine, but not that poor Comcast internet at the hotel. Yeah. The event was really stressful. It was a little stressful, especially the first day. The second day was much, much calmer. Are you in Portland or are you secretly still at Joseph's in front of a green screen? Do I have his studio plate still? I don't know if I have it handy. No, I am still in Portland. Not that I can actually prove it to you because it could be green screened. I could green screen myself over my own studio. I think I've done that before actually. Anyway, yeah. I'm downloading Resolve project files right now. Well, you can download and stream at the same time because that's fine. If your internet goes down, nobody else is affected, unlike ours at the event. So, okay. Couple of things. Oh, your camera appears to be closer or zoomed in. You know what it is? I forgot to move it back, which is because I was filming something where I needed it to be close. I don't remember what it was. Something I did recently, I needed the closer angle. And I've got it behind this teleprompter. You can kind of see it hiding back there. Behind that teleprompter, so I can't reach it. And I can't grab it. So I have to go around the back to adjust it. And I did not do that. So yes, it is closer. It is zoomed in. Maybe someday I will get a robot to turn the lens for me. And then I can zoom in and out remotely. That would be fun. Oh yes. Remember answering the question concerning USB-C HDMI out on the ATEM Mini Pro. We were wondering if, because it completely spaced on me. The video I did about the USB to HDMI converter, little box from OBSBot and RGB Link makes it, and they also sell it under their name. And that little box, I tried it with a bunch of different webcams, and it completely just did not cross my mind to try it with the USB out of the ATEM Mini Pro. Or any ATEM Mini. I'm assuming it works, but I haven't actually tested it, and I don't know where it is right now, so I don't know if I can actually try it here. But I will try it after the stream, at the very least. Matt, hello from Music City, Nashville, Tennessee. First time here. Welcome. Thanks for joining. Feel free to drop a question in at any point during the chat. If you start your question with the letter Q, it makes it a little bit easier for me to see it on my screen, so please do that, and then the conversation can continue in the chat around the questions. Yeah, if you are new here, welcome. What is this live stream about? I want to help you make better live streams. I want to help you learn how to use the tools and cameras and live streaming gear and things like that. But it's also a chance to hang out and talk about what's new in the world of video streaming, which reminds me that there is an interesting new development from Blackmagic. From our friends at Blackmagic, they have decided that the ATEM Mini, the original ATEM Mini, is no longer a product. It is gone. They dropped it. And while doing that, they also lowered the price of the Pro and the Pro ISO. That was the old price of the original ATEM Mini, and now you can get the ATEM Mini Pro for the same price as the original ATEM Mini, which is amazing. It's a fantastic deal. So there is no more ATEM Mini for sale. Interestingly, there is still the ATEM SDI, which is the same feature set as the Mini, as in no recording, no streaming, no multi-view, but it's SDI only. And they still kept that one. They didn't discontinue that one, which is interesting. But the prices, yeah. So ATEM Mini Pro dropped to $295, Pro ISO dropped to $495, which again, I've always said this about the ISO models, about all of the ISO models. It's the cheapest way to get a 4 or 8 channel recorder of any kind. And at $495 now, that's even better of a deal. And I don't know how anybody is going to beat that. It's kind of incredible. So 4-channel HDMI recorder for $500 is incredible. 4-channel SDI recorder is going to cost you a little bit more now at $795. I mean, it's always been that, but that's the Pro version, I guess. So yeah, very cool updates. Interesting to see. The thing that launched this whole line, the original ATEM Mini, it's just gone now. So I'm curious what the price for them used is going to start turning into, like on eBay and stuff. Also, ironically, I actually just bought one like 2 months ago or so. And it isn't even like permanently installed in here yet. I've just used it for a couple things here and there. So, oh well, missed out on that deal. Okay, questions coming in. Yeah, definitely would like to see if the UVC converter works with the ATEM. Maybe in a little bit I can try to dig it up. It might be in a box that's just out of arm's reach. Okay, but yeah, anyway, the other thing I wanted to mention, drum roll, is I want to give you a sneak peek. I'm saying sneak peek because I don't have the website up yet. Sneak peek of the new stand, the new PK1 stand for the Instream encoder. So the Instream is YoloLiv's new vertical streaming box, which I did do a video about. In fact, I should probably drop that link in the chat so we know what we're talking about here. Recently? Was it recently? It was August. I guess that's not super recent anymore. Here is the Instream video. So this is the vertical YoloBox, basically. It runs the Instagram app, and it's got HDMI ports on the side, so you can connect multiple cameras to it. 2 HDMI cameras, 1 USB camera, play videos off SD card, bring in audio over line input, plug it into Ethernet, all that good stuff. And it is for doing vertical video. So Instagram and I think the TikTok app is on it, and they're going to be adding more apps. I'm not going to show you that right now because the video I did already talks about everything. But the stand, it's attached in here, so I can't take it out. But it's kind of awkward without the stand, honestly, which is why we did this. So the device is vertical, right? So you use it like this, and if it's flat, it's kind of hard to see at this angle. And if you like try to just put it up on the desk, it doesn't really work. Like, there's no way to make it stay. And there's tripod screws on the sides, but that means if you put something on the side, it's just kind of dangle awkwardly. So what we did was made a new product in the PK1 lineup for this, which holds it at this angle. So this is a nice comfortable angle to use the device at. Here, this one might show you a little better. So this is like, what I would be looking at, and it's pretty much parallel to my face. So I'm looking straight on, which is a nice angle for it. Still has room for, of course, accessing all the ports on both sides, and the SD card just barely clears that. They put the SD card real close to that tripod screw. I would have probably done that differently if I was them. And but yeah, this is how it works. It's the same little aluminum bar as the YoloBox Mini stand. So this is so much nicer. So next time I do a video, it's going to be in this and I'm not going to have to like awkwardly have it sitting on the table. That link, I don't have the website up for it on PK1.tv yet, but the link to actually buy that stand is in the chat. And that is what it looks like. So, yeah, I would take it apart, but it takes a minute to get the screws out. But it's got this, you can kind of tell on, where is it? On one of these photos. This photo. When you see the red version, it's more obvious. But there's a separate little back bar here, another little bracket, and that is lets you actually connect a nut or put a nut into this this hole, and that lets you actually mount this two things with a tripod screw from the center of it instead of dangling from one side of the device. Because I don't know why, but they did not put tripod screws on the top and bottom where you would expect to like hang or mount things that way. They're on the side, which means if it's only got one screw on it, it's just awkwardly dangling. So this bracket on the back lets you put a screw into it centered so that it actually has good balance there. So yeah. Oh yeah, I should also add a disclaimer here. The version that I have here, I printed myself on the printer from the prototype files, or from the production files, but it's a prototype printed with my very cheap filament. So any of the material that you're looking at here is not the final material. This is the actual design, but the material is my very cheap stuff that I did not do any special tuning on. So in real life, the one you get will be made with much better materials. I just print prototypes with the cheap stuff, because then I don't waste the expensive stuff on early drafts. Also, they have better processes that they've dialed in with their printers with good materials, and I just have my defaults out of the printer. So, yeah. The good questions coming in. I'll get to the resolve questions in a second. Is this finished or a near complete prototype? This is finished, so it is for sale now. I linked to I dropped a link here a second ago in the chat, so you can actually place an order from the NX3D store. Like I said, I don't yet have the link up on PK1.tv, and we don't have it out at the other resellers yet, but they will be getting some in soon. I think they've ordered some already. But this is kind of like the sneak peek soft launch. So wanted to let you get a heads up on that. What 3D printers do you use for printing products like that? I have the Prusa Mini, and at the NX3D studio they have Prusa Minis and the Mark IIIs. I actually did a little tour of there. I was able to visit when I was in Bratislava, and I did a little tour of their whole setup. Here we go. PK1 factory tour. Let me drop this link in the chat. And where's the link? There it is. And in that video, we chatted about the stands and stuff, but then I did actually go and walk around the floor where they were printing the stands, and these are the ones that are actually we were shipping. So these are production models that are getting printed. So yeah, whole Prusa lineup of printers, a whole bunch of printers here doing all the different parts, and it was a lot of fun to go visit that. And like I said, like they do this professionally, so they've got all the processes set up and the right materials that are actually much better quality than my cheap $20 filament from Amazon, and have spent a lot of time tuning it to make sure it is it's solid. There's a little brackets to hold the aluminum bars together, and yeah, so a lot of fun. Not a question, but your collar is partially flipped up. Thank you. I just changed my shirt before I started and did not properly get things ready. I was a little bit scrambling as usual because, that's what we do here. the NX30 is awesome. Yes, yes, they are. Cool. Oh yeah, this is a great point. I should have mentioned this. That little C clamp that goes on the back, the one that actually holds the Instream in either in this mount or in this autofocus is not on, is it? That's what's going on. I have it in manual focus mode because I was filming. Let's get this top camera in autofocus. And there we go. So the C-clamp, again, this is my prototype material, so it's just very cheap PLA, but they print it with carbon fiber filament, so it's a lot stronger. And again, I should just take it apart. Let me show you how this works. So, a little multi-tool. If I take these off, oops, I didn't glue that one in yet. Ignore that. This came off the printer yesterday at like 7 p.m. So it is brand new. Okay, so I also have the wrong screws. You're gonna get better screws when you order it. These are just screws from some Amazon screw kit. They're NX30 is probably in the chat being like, why did you use the wrong screws? Because I did not buy the right ones. Okay, so that is the stand. This is the bracket. This will be carbon fiber when you order it. And if we use smaller screws, see, this is my screw kit. We're gonna use these screws. If I use smaller screws, then I can, oh, let's get that nut in there too. Why is this screw box so hard to open? Okay, and then I can attach it to this. So, put the little hex nut in there. And then we're going to attach this one to the side. This is the other way to use the stand, is as a, or the bracket to be able to mount things with tripod screws, like these little clamps. So this will be a carbon fiber print when you get it, so it's going to be extra strong. And then now there's a 1/4 inch screw on the back. So I will take this little small rig C-clamp and magic arm thing, and now I can put that on the back here. Should hopefully fit. Oops, this one may not be long enough. Yeah, I need, oh no, there it goes. Okay. So now, once that's in there, now you can actually hang it from the middle of the device, which is a lot more stable. So that's a lot better than trying to hang it off of one of the side screws. So yeah, I probably should have put the screws on the top and bottom, but they did not, so we fixed it. There we go. And yeah, now you can clamp it to, you know, tripods or whatever, so you can put it next to your camera, things like that. Very cool. Very cool. Oh, and then it also is just like, you can just set it on the desk. Yeah. All right. Why did I use the wrong screws? Yes. Yeah, it occurred to me this morning as I was putting this together, like, oh, these are not the right screws, and they do not, so they're missing the little, what do you call it? This is like a button style, I believe. And I don't remember the name of the other kind, but they're like the big blocky head. And the reason for that is because then they will actually slip into this little slot. And if it's got enough of a blocky head, then it'll actually support itself there. Then you can actually mount it in a quick release way too, instead of like permanently bolting it in, which is cool. Very cool. Yes, small rig tool is awesome, and you can't forget your Allen wrench anymore. Yeah, I do like this little small rig tool. I've been carrying this now just so that I always have various hex keys with me. And also this flat one comes in handy because a lot of the camera stuff uses big giant screws that you need to tighten. Cool, I'm gonna get to some of the other questions in a minute. Let me look for questions about cheesehead. That's the word. Yeah. So apparently I need to get a box of those kind of screws. Sneak peek soft launch. Yes. Oh, a lot of good questions coming in that I will get to in a minute about other things. Cool. And all sorts of good stuff. Great. Oh, they're $195 at some retailers. Okay, for the original ATEM Mini. That's very interesting. Very interesting. All right. Does the YoloBox support TikTok filters? Yeah, it actually is, like, it runs the regular TikTok app. So it is an Android device running the actual TikTok and Instagram app. So anything those apps can do, it can do. It's just that you can switch. The app sees one camera, but you're switching what camera that actually is with the InStream software. Here's another InStream question while we're on this topic. Can the InStream crop into a 16:9 video to stream in 9:16? Not yet. I've asked them to add that though, so we'll see. Because I agree that would be very cool. Right now, you basically have to physically rotate your camera, so it doesn't crop the video at all. It just takes the 16:9 that you're sending it. So in order for it to be vertical, you have to physically turn your camera. I think it'd be super cool if it did let you crop into a landscape video, horizontal video, because then you can send one copy to YouTube and then just crop in on it. But I will say actually PhotoJoseph just did a video about this. He did a good explanation and a lot of good diagrams. Let's see if I can find it. The problem with cropping 16:9 into 9:16 is it actually uses such a tiny amount of the middle of the picture because 16:9 is almost twice as wide as it is tall. This opened the gate video. So this is a video. It's only tangentially related to this, but the reason that I wanted to point this out is because somewhere in here he has diagrams about cropping. Yeah. The point of this video is that the camera sensor in this GH6 lets you actually crop different ways, and crop the video different ways and do things like reframe. And here's the 9:16, where you're actually using still the full like subset, or yeah, even just a subset of the actual pixels on the sensor, rather than like upscaling. So if you were to take, and in 4K, if you were to take a 1920 1080 picture and then take the 1080 version and stretch it up to 1920, you're obviously losing resolution, right? So that's the problem with cropping the middle part of any 16:9 video like this. Like, it would be, can I even, you know what? I bet we can do this live because I can do, what I can do is make this little diagram here. I need a capture of me in this stream. So let's just do that. We're gonna just go to YouTube and scroll back to this, grab a screenshot, and then paste it in here. So what I want to show you is if you take a crop of 9:16 vertical of a horizontal video, you actually end up using a very small amount of the picture. So this is kind of why, like, it would be useful if you could do this in the YoloBox, but you're losing out on quite a lot of the video in order to do that. Plus you're upscaling it. So that's all that you would be using of your horizontal video. You'd be losing all the sides. But it would mean that you could at least stream a cropped version of your 16:9 to Instagram while streaming the full version to YouTube or any other place with horizontal video. So hopefully that makes sense. That's what I wanted to show you with that. It was an interesting roundabout way of doing it. Okay. I think we're done with the in-stream topic. Let's move on and talk about... Let's get to some of the ResolveCon questions, because I think there's a couple of good questions in here still we can get to about the event. Let's start with this one. Have you had issues with the Blackmagic Web Presenter 4K buffering and filling up the cache? I haven't used the 4K version other than at ResolveCon when PhotoJoseph brought his, but I do use the HD version, which is running the stream right now, and has been running my streams for quite a long time, actually. The problem with the Web Presenter is that, like, it's a solid encoder. I like the little display that it gives you. You can't really see it in my... You can kind of see it. You can kind of see it up here. Got a little info display. Actually, I think I have it somewhere in here too. I think I've routed it back into the ATEM. It's gonna give you the infinite tunnel effect, but yeah, there it goes. But this is a status display, right? And it shows you on air audio waveforms, audio meters, what streaming key it's using, and data rate, and the cache. And the cache is kind of like, everyone is like super always annoyed at that, because that's the thing that shows you when there's a problem. So the way that it works, and the ATEM Mini Pro has this also, they just don't have a display for it. There's an internal buffer that the thing writes to first, and then it tries to send that buffer up to the RTMP endpoint. And that's the cache. It can store some amount of data. I don't know the number, but it's several seconds worth. Actually, it might be even like 30 seconds worth. It's kind of a lot. And if the internet goes down, like if you just yank the cord out, it'll start filling up the cache. And on the Web Presenter, you can see it. You can see that graph. On the ATEM Mini Pro, it just shows you like percent after you hit some 30% or something, and it jumps to percentage. And then if you plug the network back in, it will quickly send anything in the cache and then go back to real time. And what you end up with is if people are watching live, they will see. I kind of want to actually try this right now. But unfortunately, the network cord for the Web Presenter is nowhere near. I cannot reach it. It's buried in that rack. But I kind of want to show you what actually happens. What can I do? I could stream to a test stream. Let's do that, because I can reach. I have another ATEM here. I can do it with. So I need a clock in order to do this. That's what we're gonna have to do. So we're gonna do this live, because this is what this show is about. Unplanned live demos. What I need to do is get this out. Let's put that one away. Put those away. I need this so I can grab its cord. We're going to, what is that stuck on? Network. Okay. One of these is a video input. I lost my labeling for all these cords, so we'll see what happens. I think it's these. Let's see if this boots up. HDMI, multi-view. No signal. HDMI out 1. Okay, that was weird. Yes. Here is a video, and there it looks like it's got my hyperdeck on it. And I would like to get this back out to the stream. So let's do that and show that up here. I think I had the YoloBox connected to it. Yeah. Bear with me. Bear with me. This will be worth it. I promise. Output 2 is the multi-view. Aha. Okay. So I can now show you the multi-view of this, which is that button. Okay, so that's that device. It looks like it's showing the hyperdeck, so let's switch it to my main camera. There we go. Now it's live. And now I can stream to a test stream. So let's open up the software control and how are we doing? Oh, log into your cache and disable the port, or switch and disable the port. I think I want to physically yank the cord out instead. So, ooh, that is kind of tough to get to in this. We love live demos. Okay. So, test stream. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a new stream on YouTube. And it's just going to be called test stream. It's going to be unlisted. And I will drop the link in the chat. And then you can all go there. So, unlisted, going live in 2 minutes. So here is the test live stream. So go load up that link. It's not going to show you anything yet. And I'm going to start pushing video to it from, I'm actually going to do ultra low latency, which will demonstrate the problems better. And I'm going to start pushing video to it from this ATEM on streaming high. So on air, you can see the data rate, 6 megabits, which is a good target. And then we should get data on that stream. People are joining the chat. We're going to go live. So that stream is live. Now what I need to do is I need to get some sort of timer so that you can see the clock. Let's grab a timer from, where am I going to grab a timer from? Let's get a timer from, we'll just AirPlay my iPad. I have an app on here somewhere that is a big clock. Where is it? I thought I did. Yeah, duplicate audio. Don't mute the other one because that's not important. I guess I need to plug in the second HDMI in order to do this right. I don't know why this is so hard to get a timer. Oh, there it is. Countdown. Okay. AirPlay to the Apple TV. There it is. And let's change this timer to be a stopwatch. Red stopwatch. Okay, so it's just counting up. And you can see in the multi-view, so I need to put it on the stream. So we're going to go and do a quick little super source, cam 1, cam 2. We're going to go and do, or let's do rather a downstream key. That's a good one to use. So it'll just slap it right on top, right? Downstream key from camera 2. And let's see what that looks like. So it looks like, oh, I don't have a button for, shoot. Do I have this button? Yes, I do. Nope. Wrong ME. Darn. I need to get myself a new button on my Stream Deck. Yeah, let's actually just do that. Quick diversion again. Hey, you know what? This is just how this goes. So here's my Stream Deck buttons. I'm missing a button to get back to that, well, called YoloBox, but it really shouldn't be called YoloBox. What is that button for? I don't think I need that one. iPad overlay. I think no, let's get rid of this one. So delete that. And then we're going to do copy that. And it is, what number is it? 6. And that is 6. Now I have a button that I can press to get back to this. So this is what I'm looking at. This is what's on the secondary stream. So it's just a clock. It'll show you how many seconds exist in the gaps. So what I want to do is super source this, and now I need to actually adjust the super source so we can see one more thing. Unplanned demos are always longer to set up. I apologize. I really need mix effect. So let's do that first. To do ATEM Constellation 2ME connect. And now this will be a good demonstration of mix effect, which is, I actually did a video about this a little bit ago. Focus on the iPad, please. So this, what I need to do is go into my super source to give myself more room, because I want to show you. What am I showing you? I want to show you the, oh, I guess I don't need it to adjust the super source. I just need to change what's in it, because I just want you to see the multi-view with me. So box 1 is actually going to be the YoloBox. And is this enough? So if I show you the super source, is this going to get the point across? What are we doing? We are doing, let's get the clock back on there. Oops. Oh my God. Apple. I'm just trying to think of the best way to show this. Oh, I know what I need. I need my YouTube on the screen. That's what we're going to do. We're going to go and actually show you that's what I need to put on the super source. So move my main camera up there, and I want box 3 to be my computer screen. That way, box 3 is on, and it is, oh, tiny. Move it over there. Box 3 is bigger. And that way we'll be able to see the delay on YouTube also. Okay. It's kind of small. I hope that's okay. Oh, maybe I should just shrink box 2 a little bit. I mean box 1. Yeah, we don't need that so big. Okay, so that makes room for... This is why I like mix effect, because doing this otherwise is kind of hard. Now we have this. So now you can see everything. So we're going to go back to the clock, which is there, and turn it on. So now we are ready. I'm going to go open this on YouTube to see what you're seeing. And we are live. We are getting a approximately 2-second delay from what I'm pushing up to what I'm seeing on YouTube, which is pretty good. So the plan is I'm going to yank the Ethernet cord out of this. What you should see is over in the on-air section, you should see the cache. It'll probably jump to, I think it was like 30% or so. And then it'll start filling up. Meanwhile, on YouTube, it's going to just freeze. So let me... That is hard to get to. Oh, my finger is not big enough. There we go. Okay. That Ethernet is really wedged in there. Because this little iPad's clamp is in the way. Okay, here we go. So pay attention to the YouTube stream, and we're going to yank it out at 6:52. So we should see, yeah, YouTube is paused. We're still on there. Now it's blinking. Now eventually it's going to show us that it's cached. Meanwhile, YouTube is stuck buffering, right? Or like there's no data on YouTube. It's blinking, 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 blinking. It's still working on the cache. It's still recording data. So the interesting thing is that we're not going to lose this data, which is why I want the counter on here. At some point, we're going to see a number appear instead of cache. Takes a while. We're already at 40 seconds. Okay. Here we go. So on the web presenter, if we were looking at this on the web presenter, we would be seeing the graph creep up. Okay, 40%. The first time it showed us there was a problem. And now it's filling up. Now you can see that it's filling up the cache. It has been this whole time. It just didn't show us until 40%. On the web presenter, it does show as soon as like the actual cache number. If this hits 100, then it doesn't have any room left to write data, and it will actually lose data. But right now, it's still recording all this data internally. So I'm going to plug the Ethernet back in and watch what happens. And watch what happens on YouTube. So plug that in. It should stop blinking in a second. Once it figures out its internet. Come on. Come on. Uh-oh. Getting close. There we go. Okay, on air, stop blinking, and look at the cache number. It's dropping. So on YouTube, we're still stuck at 650, right? But, oh, look where YouTube is. It caught back up at 656. And it's showing us that we're not live. If I skip ahead to live, it should jump to, let's refresh the page. Should let us jump ahead. No, it looks like it is behind. Okay, that makes sense. It's like we're back in time on YouTube. Super annoying watching both. Yeah, don't have the sound on the other one. But here is the point. Quality drop down because it's freaking out about things. Here is the point. If we scroll back in time on the YouTube stream, watch what happens. Where was it? Like 640 or something was when we timed out. So if we scroll back in time, let me get rid of that so that it's not distracting. Pause that. Let's just go full screen on the computer. I'm going to scroll back in time on YouTube. So this is right when I was about to pull the cord out, and I think it was 640, right, is where it paused. Now watch YouTube. The cord is out. YouTube is still showing us the video. Okay, there was the gap. It was a couple of seconds. But all this was happening while the cache was filling up. And we didn't lose it. That's the key here, is that all this is still it's already on YouTube. So that whole time, when you had no internet because the cord was just yanked out, had no internet, it was filling up the cache, we didn't lose that data on the stream. So, oh, Nathaniel says I unplugged at 6:52. Thank you. So yeah, you did miss a couple of seconds from 6:52 to 6:59 for some reason. So that's the gap. I don't know why that's the gap. So that is the behavior of the ATEM and the web presenter, the ATEM Mini Pro, ISO, and all that, and the web presenter. And it's just that on the web presenter, you actually see the cache number as a little graph, and it'll start ticking up immediately. Rather than on the ATEM Mini, the cache, it doesn't show you the number until the cache hits 40%, which is honestly pretty late. And as soon as I unplugged it on YouTube, it just paused. So this all started because I clicked on a question. What was the question? Have you had issues with it buffering and filling up the cache, was the question. So yes, the issues are, if the web presenter loses its internet connection, it will start buffering and filling up the cache, which is what you want it to do, because you want it to be able to record as much data as possible and then eventually catch up. And what happened at ResolveCon was, what happened with ResolveCon was, it wasn't that the cord was yanked out, but it was just not enough upload bandwidth, which has a similar problem. I'm actually trying to come up with a way to put something here I can actually use to try that part out as well, because I want to be able to test not just yanking the cord, but dropping the bandwidth. And we'll get to that eventually, but I don't have it ready. But so if there's not enough bandwidth in your upload speed, the cache will start filling up because it's the same problem. It's not able to send data up fast enough, so it keeps writing into it internally until it is able to. The problem is that on YouTube, it just doesn't get enough data, so it will pause. People will freak out. They will say, it's buffering. This is unacceptable, blah, blah, blah. And that's what was happening at ResolveCon. So once we realized that it was because there wasn't enough bandwidth, I happen to know that the YoloBox handles that situation completely differently. I guess I should stop streaming this. The YoloBox, on the other hand, what happens is it will do more things to adapt to bad network conditions. So the web presenter, this is also an interesting difference. Where's my web presenter? The web presenter data rate, it's 6. It's going to drop because it's showing you mostly just static images now. It's a variable bitrate encoder, meaning, oh, you know what I should do? I should really put my, somewhere I have a little thing to cover this up. Oh well, that's fine. You get the idea. I could cover up that tunnel effect with a upstream key. But point is, look at the data rate. It's dropping because there's less stuff on the screen. There's more flat parts of the image, so it doesn't need as much bandwidth to encode. And if there's video on the screen, it'll get closer to 6, which is a target. So it is a variable bitrate encoder. However, what it varies by is the video that it's encoding, not the network conditions. So if the network conditions are only allowing 1 megabit up and it's trying to push 6, then it's just not going to work. YouTube won't get data fast enough and you will see buffering. Meanwhile, it'll be filling its cache up, trying to hold on to all that data so that eventually when the network recovers, it can push the rest of it up. And then on YouTube, it's smooth. So in practice, if this is happening on YouTube, you can tell people, skip back 30 seconds and they won't see a gap, especially if it's not yanking the cord, but just bad network. So the difference with the YoloBox is that the YoloBox will vary the bit rate all over the place, which is good and bad. Bad because you have no guarantees that it's going to be a constant, 6 megabits or whatever. But it's good because it means it adapts to the poor network conditions much, much better. So if I were to, once I get this set up where I can actually tweak cap the bandwidth artificially to devices, we can do the side-by-side demo and see what happens when the YoloBox only has a megabit up. And what'll happen is it'll actually be able to do something on YouTube so that it's not frozen. It's not going to look good, but it'll be something. And the web presenter and ATEMs just don't. So that's why in a bad network condition, those are not they're not good. They don't work well because they just don't have any way to adapt. So for a little while, I saved the ResolveCon stream by switching over to the YoloBox, which at least gave us something to push up instead of just being stuck. And yeah, so at least we had that. Anyway, hopefully that was an interesting demo. That was a lot of setup. Is it time to yank the cable? Yeah, yep. Okay, this is a good question. Is there an easy way to set up a be right back image for YouTube when extended buffering? Sort of. So YouTube has a backup URL, and I saw another question about this. Do I use the backup channel on YouTube? This is another really interesting thing you can do, is to push data to the backup and primary URL. So if you go to the console on YouTube, I don't need that super source layout anymore, so we can go back here. If you go to the console, you get primary URL and backup server URL, and you can push video to both. So this is still up. I didn't end it, so we can actually try this. Another fun demo. I'm going to keep pushing that video with the clock on it, so we're going to keep that running. Actually, let's reset the clock. So now we're pushing this on air to that YouTube event, same event. And yeah, it says excellent condition, so we're good. That's going to the primary URL. Now, the secondary URL, you can do a couple things with it. One is you can send from a separate encoder, you can send the same data to that URL over a different internet connection, or the same internet connection. It's really meant for using a different connection. So you could take like a encoder with a cellular modem, push data to the backup URL, and then if the primary one drops, YouTube will fall over to the secondary. If you're sending the same video to both, it'll be pretty much seamless when it switches back and forth. I don't think it's perfect. We can try that at some point later. This is annoying me that it's spinning. Let's see what this one says. Refresh. We should be back here with something. So you can send 2 copies of the same thing, or you could send different things to the backup URL. It has to be the same frame rate and resolution, but why are we not? Okay, there we go. So yeah, only 2 seconds or so different. So what I want to do now is I want to send something different to this URL with the same stream key. The reason is, what you can do is you can send something that's like an offline message, like, oh, the stream is back soon. What am I going to do that with? I'm running out of encoders. What can I use? Oh, I can use I have another ATEM Mini here. Okay. So time to do another little demo of, let's make a little static graphic. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of the crop. Let's just say, be right back, and make that nice and big. Obviously you'd want this to look a little nicer. You could do a cute little thing like, actually I have this somewhere because I've done this before. I have it in, I think it's in my branding folder. Yes, here we go. So this is my little no signal with torn paper effect. And this, I'm going to, oh, I don't need it in, it's already an image. Good one. I'm going to go over to my other ATEM here, ATEM SDI Pro ISO, and I'm going to drag it into here, into the media pool. Okay, that's there. We're going to just set that to the media player, and then I'm going to stream from this to the backup URL. Let me do that really quick. Get the, so YouTube, and then they actually have a preset for the secondary. And then let's paste the stream key in there. Make sure that's the right one. Yep. And we're going to go ahead and go on air. So that is now streaming. Yes, it is in fact streaming to the backup URL. So next demo. We're going to go to this, which is what we're seeing live. I'm seeing 2 seconds behind. And as soon as I yank the cord out this time from, I don't need to yank the cord. I can just press stop on the big extreme. Let's, oh, you know, I can just show you this view. Okay, so that's the YouTube video. Here is the clock that's streaming to it. And as soon as I press off air, if this thing goes offline, YouTube's going to fail over to the backup URL, which is streaming from that ATEM. So that's offline at, what was it, 15? It's going to take a second, and then it should, cross your fingers if I did this right. There it goes. So now that is coming from the other ATEM. It is, it's a video signal because it's like, it just happens to be a still image, but you could, you know, well, switch to the other camera on it or have another clock or something. But it's kind of cute to have it just be a still image. That should, we should see that. Oh, it's not live. It should, there it goes. Yeah. So that's what's on the secondary encoder. So what you could do is you could do this where you have a, not an ATEM, but just like a server running OBS in the cloud or something, right? Where it's like not even real hardware, just pushing that static image to the backup URL. And here's the thing about the backup URL. Now watch this. I'm going to turn this back on air. This is now fine. YouTube is not going to switch back to it until that one stops. So I actually have to go stop streaming to the backup URL before it will fail over. So basically YouTube only fails back and forth when it'll only switch if the stream that's currently active goes away. It doesn't prioritize either one of them. So as soon as I hit off on that one, at some point it should switch back now that that one has stopped. It seems like this one is a little bit more delayed compared to the 2 seconds that this one was. We'll see what happens. There it goes, and we're back. So now we've got more of a delay between the two, but that's fine. Can I skip ahead? Yes, I can. There we go, back to the 2 seconds delay. So you can fail back and forth, but you have to stop the secondary encoder in order to do that. Fun stuff. Did I just say I was running out of encoders? I still have a few more somewhere. So, okay, Scott, you know, I tried this actually a little while ago. Use the Unify setup to create a VLAN with a profile that limits the bandwidth. I have a couple of those already on the Unify for actual purposes, like production purposes, for the guest network here and stuff. The problem is that making a change is not instant. Actually, making a change tells the router to go and change its settings, and it takes a while, and there's no clear indication of when it's actually active. I want something I can quickly tweak faster, basically. And yes, also, I need to not just limit the bandwidth, but drop lots of frames. So I have a plan for that. Great question from Nathaniel. With YouTube, do you have to start the primary stream first, or can you start streaming to the backup first, or say stream forever to the backup stream? I believe you can stream to either one, and they are interchangeable. So let's go back to this. Let me just stop this entirely, so nothing is being streamed. And yeah, it's hung. It's just spinning, basically I can start streaming to the backup stream first, and it's just going to pick that. And then it'll never fail back to the primary unless the backup stops. So it's really just two different points that you can get data into YouTube. So if I start doing this one, it's not going to switch back to this until the backup one stops. That's the key. So we were doing this a lot on the day of ResolveCon, of going back and forth between the two, because we were trying to deal with the two web presenters and their bad network conditions. The other difference with the web presenter is that they really want to drain their cache before shutting off. So if it's not able to, it'll kind of just be locked up. And we were having this problem a lot during ResolveCon. So the cache would be filling, we would see it's filling, and then all of a sudden we would be like, okay, well, the other one's doing fine, but let's stop. And then you press stop and it just doesn't do anything because it's trying to drain the cache. So, yeah, kind of annoying. Anyway, so we had a lot of yanking the power cord out going on. Okay, cool. So I think I answered those questions. Can we please have a tour of the new rack as a little break from encoders? Sure, I can show you what's on here a little bit. I don't have a great angle of it, but this angle kind of shows only the top part. This is not actually totally, there's not that much new stuff in here, but this is the same little dual Blackmagic display that I just have the two different multi-views from the ATEM on it. Not using the video hub right now, it's powered off. This is the Constellation 2ME on loan from DVE Store until I get the 4ME that I ordered. And then I've got HyperDeck, Ultra Studio for the comments, and then you can't see down below, but this is the web presenter that's actually streaming the show. Two more HyperDecks, one's for stingers, one's for recording and playback. And then down below is power, battery, network controllable switch, and then the big X32 rack doing the audio. Oh, and then this is the thing that we were using extensively at ResolveCon, also very handy. I don't have a way to show you that very well. You can kind of see if I block the glare. That's the audio meter. So it's showing me the audio levels, and visually over time, there's a little spinning wheel here, and it shows me how my audio levels are that I can glance at. Right now, I'm hovering at about -18 LUFS, which is slightly quieter than it should be, and I don't quite know what else I can do to crank it up, because I've got things cranked up pretty loud right now. I'm actually curious what your thoughts are on how it sounds, because I earlier yesterday went and did something I don't normally do, which is boosted the analog input. It's actually at +6. So it looks quite hot here, but the loudness meter is showing me that I'm still a little bit too low. So still trying to dial it in, but at least now I have more tools to check out. What other improvements to the web presenter are needed apart from the cache issues? I guess what I would like to see is two different ways of stopping the stream. So, because the cache is not an issue, it's a feature, and it just happens that you see it when there's a problem. Like otherwise you don't pay attention to it, so it looks like it's causing the problem. It's not causing the problem. It's a nice feature. The problem is that I would like to be able to have two different off buttons. One is stop streaming after you're done flushing the cache. One is no, really stop streaming now. Like actually off. Otherwise, the only other option is yanking the power cord. So, because I do sometimes just want to actually cut it off, completely cut it off. And that's what I want on the web presenter. And then it would also be nice if what was the other thing? We actually talked about this a little bit during the behind the scenes stream on Wednesday. It is nice that it's variable bitrate, so it doesn't waste bandwidth when it doesn't need to. I would like it to be able to lock it into like target 6 megabits, because sometimes YouTube complains when it gets too low, even though it's fine. So that'd be nice as an option. It'd be nice if it didn't crash. Just mine, the one I have here, it actually will lock up after a few days of being on. So after a few days it's on, the encoder will show me the same number data rate, and it'll just be locked there regardless of what's on the screen, so I know it's not working. I can't tell if it's the encoder that stopped or if it's the monitoring that stopped, but it does lock up, and also at that point, pressing the on-off buttons don't work. So that happens if I leave it on for like more than 4 days at a time. And then usually what I do when I get in here is I reboot it right before I start, and then it's fine. So, oh, great, great point, Nathaniel. I would love the ability to do a backup stream over a USB modem with the web presenter. So it is only one encoder, but you can plug in a USB modem to it. So a phone, for example, or like other USB modem to it. And one of the things that it does is it, where is it? Yeah. So in here, you get this connection priority, Ethernet or mobile, which is again, not exactly what I want. But what this does is it's kind of like the YouTube primary secondary URL. It's whatever one is available of the two, it will try to use more, but it doesn't fail over to the other one unless it's like really gone. So I tried recovering at ResolveCon at one point like this, and it didn't work because I plugged in my phone to the web presenter, so it had a cell signal. The Ethernet was still there, even though it was bad. And that was the problem, was that it wasn't totally gone. If I had yanked an Ethernet cord out, it would have fallen over to the cellular. But because it thought it still had an Ethernet connection, it kept trying to use it, never actually trying my cell phone connection. So yeah, it's not quite right. Like, and again, it's tough because I don't know if I want, I don't know which one I want all the time. I think I want to be able to control it. I think I want to be able to choose what it does. Like I want to be able to say, okay, I know that my network conditions are a little bit messy, even though it's not totally offline. I would like to tell it, like, now go use cellular. There's no button for that. It's just going to auto decide, right? And yes, I also mentioned high bitrate primary and low bitrate backup. So this is what I would probably do next time differently at ResolveCon. Well, at ResolveCon next time, if I am running the event, a lot of things will be different, I'm sure. But in general, what I would like to do is run a secondary stream at an extremely low bitrate, like 1 megabit. And I think I actually did a test of this, which we can probably do right now. Live stream, let's drop that. Do I have it on this computer or is it on the other one? Oh no, don't remove all the streaming settings. Load streaming settings. Yes, it is here. Cool. So what I can do is, let's go back to that test event. Reset the clock. We're doing all sorts of fun tests today. So I made a custom profile in this XML file for the custom profile for streaming YouTube test stream. Let's get rid of the stream key. So in the, this is the custom XML I made for the encoder, primary backup. So those two URLs, but I made two profiles, streaming high and super low 1 megabit, where at 1080p 30, it is in fact 1 megabit, which is way lower than you should be streaming video, but it's also not, turns out, terrible. So if I switch the ATEM ISO to stream to the backup URL at 1 megabit, let's push that up. Let's start my clock. Now let's go back to this. So this is the primary encoder, the extreme. We've got that. The secondary encoder, I don't have a way to stream it, but we'll just stream my top-down camera, which also shows the clock. And let's skip up to live. There we go. Here's our 2 seconds. So if I stop the primary stream, we're going to switch over to the secondary. I do want the same video feed. I'm going to make that happen. Okay. I need this output. I need the extreme output to be program. Okay, so that's the program. And then I need the output that's going to camera 3 to be... Haha! Okay, so that ATEM Mini has the same program feed as what's streaming here. So this is what I would be doing. This is what I want to try at an event at some point. We're streaming 6 megabits. This is a 6 megabit stream that we're seeing on YouTube, and it looks fine. That one streaming to the backup stream is streaming a 1 megabit version of this. So if I cut off the primary at 130, there it is, stopped at 130, it should be picking up the backup stream now. But the backup stream is going at 1 megabit. The reason I want to do this is because I would like the backup stream to go over my cell phone, but I don't want to waste 6 megabits of a cell phone connection the whole time. I wonder if I punched in the wrong stream key. It should have caught up by now. That might be what happened. No, that's the right one. Secondary. Why isn't it? Oh, there it goes. It just took a while. Weird. Okay. Don't know why it took so long. Normally it doesn't. But check this out. If you're on that stream, look how bad it is. Let me actually give you a full screen on this stream. This is a 1 megabit version of the same video. And you can definitely see a lot more. It's in real time. It's actually 2:30. Let me skip ahead. Yeah. Now we're only 2 seconds behind. So as I move, you're going to see that the pixelation is way worse, right? So it's a 1 megabit stream, but it's something. And most importantly, the audio is fine. So the audio in that version is totally fine. And now I can switch back to the 6 megabit by starting that one and stopping that one. I was at 257, so it should switch back. These failovers are not quite as seamless as I thought they were, which is good to note. Luckily at ResolveCon, the whole thing was just a mess anyway, so it didn't really matter. Come on, you can do it. I wonder if I should refresh the page. There it goes. Okay. So now we're back up to, we're a little behind. Let's skip ahead. Now we're back up to the 6 megabit stream and it looks fine again. So that's what I want to do next time. Yeah, just for completion's sake, that is the 6 megabit stream again. So I think that's a neat trick. Basically push two different bit rates. That way you're not wasting bandwidth on your backup stream over your cell phone connection, which is going to be more expensive. And if you need to fail over, you can. And lastly, a really interesting feature in the web presenter that is not in the ATEMs is that you can switch the bitrate it streams at on the fly. Unfortunately, I can't show you this without showing my stream key, but in the web presenter setup, when you're on air, you can't change the platform or the key that you're streaming to, but you can change the quality. And you can't do that with the ATEM. On the ATEM, once it's on air, all the buttons are disabled. So that is a really, really interesting feature. And yeah, I agree. It's absolutely usable. 1 megabit is fine. It's worse, but you can hear fine. And another good point is if there were static slides, it would also probably be totally fine. So we're getting really complex now. Yeah. If streaming the high bit rate and low bit rate simultaneously, if the cache doesn't fill up with the primary high, does the YouTube take the primary? The rule with YouTube is that whatever starts first, it will always use until that one disappears, and then it'll switch over. So it's also important that you have to make sure you start the high bitrate one first, and then start the low bitrate one. Don't do it in the wrong order, otherwise it'll always be using the low bitrate. Start the high bitrate one first, then start your low bitrate, And then if your primary one fails, or if you need to take it offline for some reason, it'll just fail over to the low bitrate one. And if you're using a web presenter, you could at that point bump it up to a higher bitrate. So if you actually want to use up all your cell data to get the better quality, you can. So it is really cool. Very cool. Okay, other questions. Is the YouTube stream TCP or UDP? It is RTMP, which means it's TCP. So would using your Magewell and taking a second HDMI out of your ATEM into your Magewell work as a failover without a computer? Yeah. I actually don't have any of the Magewell encoders. All mine are decoders, but yeah, they do make encoder versions as well. Oh, thank you, Pat, for the super chat. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. All sorts of live demos today. It's been a lot. Nathaniel has a quick question about the 2ME Constellation HD. It says it has 8 upstream keyers. Does that mean 4 for the first and 4 for the second? Yeah, that is what it means. Let me go show you that in the 2ME. Here are the two different MEs, and it's got 4 upstream keyers here and 4 down here. Just like the Extreme, there are some limits in terms of whether you can use DVEs for some of them. You can't use DVEs on all of them, but you do get 4 on each. Will there be a live switch to Lily's channel today? Yes, there will be. I think it's already set. So she starts in about 13 minutes. So that's when we're going to end. She is talking about how to stop overspending. And I'll drop that in the chat, but you don't need to click it because as soon as I end this stream, it will send you over there automatically. Love these live demos, so helpful to learn from. Thanks. As a backup just for the image, would a Raspberry Pi work, or is that too weak to encode? It would totally work. Absolutely fine. Raspberry Pi can handle encoding a 6 megabit stream, no problem, and certainly a static image. But that does mean that it's like, you need a physical internet connection for it. One of the advantages of using a cloud service that can just stream to the backup URL for that offline image is that you don't need your own internet for it. But, pros and cons both ways. Oh, did I misunderstand the question? If the primary loses the connection, does the YouTube replay video keep the primary throughout? No. So the recording on YouTube will match what people are seeing minus time gaps. So if you have only one encoder going and then you cut it. So like this is the demo we did a little bit earlier. I had the one encoder going, and where was it? It was at the 140 or whatever, right? I had one encoder going. It was I yanked the cord out, and then the recording on YouTube does not show the time gap. It's like the gap didn't happen, right? So because it was able to flush the cache back up. If there are 2 encoders going and it fails over to the other encoder, that is recorded. So do I remember the timestamp at which we failed over to the 1 megabit stream? I don't know if I can find it. I think it was somewhere around 6. But what you're going to see in the recording is you will see it drop to the lower bit rate, but you're not going to it's not going to look like there was a delay. But that's why I have the clock on here so that you can actually see how much time passed. Where was it? I wish I could remember the number. If anybody happens to remember the number where it dropped to 1 megabit, let me know. I'm trying to just skim through to see if I can recognize it. No, maybe it was back farther. I can't find it. If you remember it, let me know. Do you know if there's a way to monitor the backup stream while the primary is live? No, this is something on YouTube's end that I really want YouTube to add a feature into here, which is basically showing me which one is active. So on Stream Health, we get this nice little Stream Health page, which is essentially useless. It does not report useful errors, and it doesn't actually tell you anything really actionable. I want, on this page, I want to see primary URLs receiving data, secondary URLs receiving data. Here's the bitrate. Like, this is not hard. Other things do this. And I want to make like verify, oh, are we sending data to the backup URL? Do I have both mine sending to the primary somehow accidentally? Like, I would be nice to know that. YouTube does not give us those tools. And yeah, it's missing, definitely missing. So I want them to fix that so I can actually see. Oh, 129 was the cut to the low bit rate. Yeah, so we can go back and see this. That's Lily's 129. I was so close. Okay, so let's see if this works. This is 6 megabit. Yeah, it looks clean. And then I'm pointing at the other one. And then where is it? 129. Okay, that was like I'm pressing the button. Okay, it skipped ahead. We lost some time. 29 to 41 or so. So it was like 11 seconds. But notice that it skipped in terms of like there was a gap of data missing. But as a viewer, you don't see it as I'm waiting 11 seconds, right? It goes, I'm just watching the video. I'm watching the video, and it's going to just suddenly skip ahead in time. Here we go. So when you're watching it back, it's not like you're waiting 11 seconds with looking at nothing. And it is, in fact, showing me the 1 megabit because I can tell from the compression artifacts. But yeah, basically whatever you see on YouTube is what's recorded. There isn't something separate for that. Before we hit the end of the show, only 32 likes. Don't forget to both like and subscribe. Thank you for the reminder, Eric. And thank you, Graham, for the super chat. Thanks for all the info. Can you turn off the power to your studio as a grand finale and test your UPS of the networking kit? Oh, that makes me nervous. It's been a while since I've yanked the cord out. How much do I trust my setup right now? Let's see. Where is this plugged in? Right under the desk. I think some of the cameras are not on the UPS, so I don't know if that's gonna go well. Also, I don't know if my monitor's on the UPS. But so what would happen if I did that? I get the 2ME media first. Yeah, seriously. That's really frustrating that it does not keep the media pool. What would happen? What would happen if I yanked the power out? Let's get a couple more questions before I do this. Okay. Why didn't I use Speedify or something similar? So Joseph did bring a backup modem. Using Speedify would have meant we needed a machine to run it on, and we didn't really have the gear that set up that way. But we mentioned this a couple of times during the behind the scenes on Wednesday. There's a lot of things we probably would have done differently given other constraints. Oh, we got something else we can fix before we wrap this up instead of yanking my power. Can you check my Stream Deck? The on-air button isn't working. We can check that out. Basically, given an unlimited budget, we would have done unlimited redundancies, but there was not an unlimited budget. We were paid, but frankly, not market rate. We were both doing it because it was a fun event and we wanted to do a favor to a friend. Which basically meant that we were limited in terms of the time we could spend preparing and the amount of gear we could use and money to spend on other services like Speedify. So it went well regardless, and I think they want to do something again. So maybe we will be able to convince them to budget a little bit more for it next time. Okay, let's figure out what's going on with Lily's Stream Deck so she can get on air and get the show running. I have a very important cue in the queue. I don't know what it is. We're going to try to get onto her ATEM. Okay, here is her ATEM. Why is it not going on air? Let me go look at the live stream. It is configured properly. Can I even press the on air button on the ATEM? That's why I want to check first, because then we know if it's an ATEM problem or a Stream Deck problem. It's an ATEM problem. Oh, there it goes. Nope, that was her pressing something. It is an ATEM problem. The ATEM is not going on air when I press the button in the software control. So we're going to save startup state. We are going to tell her to yank the cord, the power cord on that, and reboot it, which is making me a little bit concerned that we had to do this 2 weeks in a row. So yeah. Oh, Lily is the important one in the queue. Yes. Reboot the ATEM Lily. Power is under desk. I should apparently connect that to a remote switch so I can do it like all the gear here. Speaking of things locking up, that's not great. Cool. Have they talked about adding a firmware update to fix the volatility of the media pool? I don't think I've heard anything official, but I don't think it's a firmware. I think if the storage is not there, then it's not going to happen. How am I remoting into other ATEMs, presumably on another network? I am. Yeah, it's actually, I actually talked about this in more detail. I think it was 2 weeks ago on my stream. It's a site-to-site VPN, and it means that I can just get to things on both sides of the network from either side, which is nice. Okay, she rebooted. My software control shows nothing. Trying to connect. Hopefully it comes back. Dun dun dun. Come on. Is it up? The suspense. I don't know. I'm not able to connect to it yet, so it's like it's not rebooted yet. Yeah, I may need to plan my power cord yanking of my studio a little bit more. I think I'm gonna rearrange everything in here again. So, this is like ResolveCon all over again. Yep. Okay, let me try to connect again. Oh, I remember there's another bug here, which is that if you try to reconnect to the same thing it was on before, it doesn't do it. Come on. There, no. It's not happy. Uh-oh. Why is it just not even coming up? We can go into the companion on the web. ATEM Mini Extreme ISO connecting. Let's reconnect. It's not able to connect either. Uh-oh. Now this has turned into... Does Lily have one ATEM? You have so many? Yes, there's only one ATEM at home. Is the network at home? I don't think so. I can get into Companion just fine at home. So that part's fine. But it is not able to connect to the ATEM, which means the ATEM, something's wrong with it. That's bad. I hope it didn't just die. Okay, send me a picture. Oh, she was stuck 5 minutes behind of my stream. On-air light is flashing. I got a picture of the ATEM at home, which is, oh, it says the cache is full. That's interesting. Speaking of cache problems, this is interesting. Look, the on air says, it says on air, it says full, but the light is not on. I think you need to reboot it again. I think it needs to get rebooted because it should not look like that. Oh, the light is blinking. It's not just off. I am not using DHCP. It is, or I think the ATEM is set to DHCP, but I have a static lease for it. I'm not sure I rebooted it right. I think that's what happened. I think you unplugged something different. Reboot it and let it sit for like 10 seconds. Yeah, it's like totally just. Oh, the other problem is maybe something got bumped. Maybe the network cord got bumped. I sure hope not. Has the network plug from the ATEM come out? That is... Oh, nope. There it is. Now, companion sees it. Interesting. So, is she live? Should we try to connect to the ATEM on my machine? I think this is the bug I'm having again. Okay, Mini Extreme 10.10.200.1. There it is. Output, live stream, on air. She is streaming. She is on air. She is in fact on air on YouTube. Good stuff. All right. Unplugged and plugged it in. Doing it live. Wonderful. Okay. That's concerning. I hope there's not anything wrong with that. So we are going to go hang out on Lily's stream now. She's going to talk about overspending and eat a donut. And I am going to clean up my mess in here. That was fun. Thank you for all the super chats. See you again, same time next week, same place. And yeah, even better than a simulated power cut. Maybe we'll do a real power cut next time. All right, thanks everybody. And thanks for the super chats. See you all again next week. Wow, a lot of super chats this week. That's awesome. Thank you so much. All right, see you on Lily's channel. Goodbye.